what I want to say is that I am here to invite people to join me in the poetry reading I'm going to do on the 28th, next Friday, at 11 o'clock this California time. And I wanted to, well, some poems will be old poems that I wrote from France. It's all about village life. And then the new poems, the very new poems, are about life in general. I wanted to read a couple of them, maybe. The first one is about, it's called The Embroiderer, and uh, it's for my Aunt Rosine, who was an embroiderer, but it's also the meeting of the feminine and the masculine and the joining together in that place of silence. So I'll read it now. It's called The Embroiderer. The house hides in the back of the garden. No voice comes from it. The village has moved to the fields. Dishes are quiet. Not a cork is popping. It is the hot hour. The sun beats the flagstone to distortion as they surrender their inscrutable density, rising in hieroglyphic waves. Nothing is a waif to excite the barking of chained dogs lying in the dust behind the barn. Nothing to entice the prostrated hand from out of the shade and into the farmyard. The curtains are drawn, shutter closed. Nothing indicates whether the house is lived in, except the suspicion of a shape sitting dark inside at the threshold of light. Look closer. It's a woman. She embroiders. On the table next to her, a vase holds one white lily. She steers the cool shade of the house into summers immensely, like a frail vessel on a troubled ocean, sewing truth with little stitches, big stitches. She embroiders this expert stitcher of life, weaving complicated filigree into the daily routine, linking each thing to the next. Safe inside, her lover swims in the sleep of oblivion. She says nothing, insists on being quiet about a thing that is only revealed when man's hustle and bustle is appeased. He is the loudmouth, the story, the noise. He has the bright feathers, but she is the vessel on which he can explore the big water, the bridge, allowing him to cross safely to the other side and come back. A stitch at a time, she secures their union to each other and to the earth. Sitting in a house at the edge of light, a woman embroiders. She has no use for idle gossip, political games, boastful display. Her house hides in the back of the garden. No sound comes from it. It has only known solitude or intimacy. This house is ours when we are ready. So that is about the embroiderer.
When did you write this poem?
Oh, that was probably 15 years ago. No, 10. One of the last time I stayed for a while in France and participated in village life, my parents lived in France. They retired to a small village that it's such a big life at the time, with little artisan. Every people were doing everything. There was one, metal worker, a house, a butcher, a baker, and it was tiny, only like 200 people. But over the years, it changed. Like it became dead as the old people died, and nobody wanted to take over those little. those things that make you a living, but a very small living, people are no longer into that. So anyway, so it has changed a lot, but it was an amazing village at the time I wrote this. And I don't know, shall I read a recent poem?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this one is called Smoking on the Equinox. So I just wrote it last equinox. In the silence of the forest, my smoke rises, blurring the edges, softening shapes, lines, colors, enticing the formless to remain undefined, unspoken, unnamed. There is no grounding for the vision floating by. I can load whoever wants to come on this ride with me without adding any heaviness. For in vision, nothing weighs anything. There is no separation. In this lightness of being, I breathe a sigh of relief. I go up in smoke. Equal day and night, days and nights, equanimity, a certain I am free from comparing everyone, everything, perfect for its own purpose, no waste, no sins, no mistakes, no more decision, no more opinion. I leave no trace on anyone or anything. I go up in smoke. Smoke is pleasure, I have been told, and pleasure is smoke. When I blow this smoke into my silence and offer it to the universe as a blessing to our deepest humanity, to my brothers and sisters, to all my relations, the otherness is gone. I dissipate with the smoke. I am all pleasure. I am smoke. So that's a recent poem. So it's a different.
That's a beautiful poem. Did you have to work very long at it, or how did it come to you?
No, usually poems come to me very spontaneously, but then I may have to work, I put it down on the page real quick, and then I may have to work to get it to be clearer or shorter or whatever, It seems like some things have to be eliminated, something clarified, but because it's a little raw, but it usually comes to me. At this point, I only write poems when I feel pushed to write a poem.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, do you have a regular time in the day that you write, or how do you do
Oh,
that?
no. No, it's whenever it comes.
Yeah.
I always am sure that I have pen and paper. Sometimes it's on little pieces of whatever I have, even on toilet paper. If I don't have anything else, but I make pretty sure that I have something with me, because it comes at any time, really. Mostly it's when I am in silence and taking a walk by myself in the forest or in contemplation of nature. That's mostly when poems come. Knock on my door.
Well, you live in a very pristine natural environment there in the redwood forests. So for you to go
Yeah,
for a walk in the forest must be quite an experience.
it is. It really, I mean, I am grateful every day for ending up in this place. I was born and raised in Paris, total city. But this is what I think I manifested this, because that's what I really wanted. Even as a child, I didn't know about the redwood forest in America, US, forget, I didn't know anything about it, but I knew that I wanted to be out there somewhere where there was mostly trees, and I have a wonderful garden. I love plants. I love to work with them, talk to them, play with them, and I have all this. I am so grateful. And I just, I pray that everybody can have what they want at the end of their life, which,
Can I ask you, because you were born in Paris, your first language is French,
Yes,
um, but now you work in English, right? You write in English?
I write in English. Yeah, I started writing poetry in French, and I had actually my first book of poetry was published in Paris in French. And after I married my husband and came to the States. We lived in Colorado for a while, and after it took about, I spoke English, but it was not my language for about 6, 7 years. But then at one point, I felt that English was more a current language for me, and French was a little bit farther. I was losing it a little bit. I was losing the connection. So I dared to start writing in English, and I was people were very happy, impressed. So I continued. And now I really feel that English is my language. But when I go to France, and if I stay long enough, like a month, after a month probably or two, I start writing in French again. I regain that connection.
Yeah.
Although French, I mean, when I go to France, the language has evolved to such an extent that I would say that maybe a tenth of it I can't understand. It's all new words, new slang, new way. They even do the verlan, which is mean l'envers. So they put the words inside that, which is fun. But you have to get used to it.
So tell me about your other writing project. You've written a book of children's stories.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it just came out
Do you,
6 months ago.
do you have a copy that you could show us with the
Let's see.
cover?
Yeah.
Ah, Mimi the cat. Beautiful.
And so, yeah, actually, this one, I didn't do the illustration. A friend of mine who is also French did the illustration. It's a fun book. But it's a true story about a cat. It's an amazing story. But as I started talking to people about cats, everybody who loves cats has incredible stories. I like the way he illustrates, all around the writing.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I love his. Yeah. So here is Mimi the cat.
Aha.
And here she is at the end. Where is she? Because at the end, she gets her way. And she sleeps and she sleeps and she sleeps. Till the end of time. So that's basically that's what I am mostly interested in now, doing a series, and it's going to be very much the same with with just very simple titles. Like the next one is Magic the Cat. It's a real name that people have given that cat, and so I'll keep doing them. It's so much fun.
You've written other books as well. What are the other books that you've written?
Okay, so one is called Entrenu. It's basically village stories from my ancestors, because actually I was raised and born and raised in Paris, but my parents are Italian. So I have a whole ancestry. And in those days, Italians emigrated a lot because of work, the lack of work. It was right after the war. Anyway, so I have the stories of the villages, of my father's village, and my amazing story, ghost story. I mean, really, because I spent all my summer as a child there. So the book is about, it's like a memoir. It's sort of like what do you call it? Fictionalized memoir. When I didn't know something, I would make it up. And actually, later on, I found out that it had really happened the way I made it up. Years later. Anyway, so that's the book of village stories from different voices, the voices of the different ancestors and characters. And the book before that was travel stories, because we traveled around the world, Charles and I, my husband and I, when we first met. There was another Subud couple, Gleason, Mardia and Redmond Gleason, fairly known in Los Angeles. And we traveled around the world together in a Volkswagen bus. And so I wrote a lot of stories from that. So that's another book. And then the first book was a Subud called The Many Faces of Subud. And I interviewed a lot of people in Subud from different congresses and just basically that's what it's about. It's about people talking about their experience. Well, I was going to Manuka. There was every year there was a big gathering, a Subud conference type of, and at Manuka, and just like the stories about the cats, people started telling me stories I thought was so interesting, and it would be interesting to have a collection that would just show completely different viewpoint on the experience that they were having because of the Latian in Subud, So I thought it would be very interesting to just put it together. And I started interviewing people at Manuka, and it happened every year. Then I went to Colombia. There was a big Subud conference there at one point in Amanecer. And that's when I was given my name, Riantee, actually, by Ibu. And so again, I started interviewing a few people, and it was just like that. And then I thought, oh, I'll put it all in the book. And I had a couple of friends helping me getting other interviews, so we put it all into that book.
Sounds like a very fun project.
Yeah, it was a fun project. Yeah, I always have been into writing, whatever comes, whatever seems to be the focus of the moment, I'll write about. Okay, once more, I would like to invite you to join me if you like those two poems. I have more, and I'd love you to join me next Friday, the 28th of May at 11 o'clock California time, and you may look up the time for your part of the world. And so I'd love to see you there. And thank you. Bye-bye.